What's up, guys? This is Mr. DeLorien to episode 9 of Season 5 Fear the Walking Dead review / breakdown. So this episode has one major plot point and one side plot point that kind of doesn't matter but kind of matters. So let's hop right into the major plot point and then we'll get into the side one, then we'll get into our review and let's hop right into it. So the first major plot point features Morgan, Grace, and Dwight, but Dwight kind of for a little bit. So the episode begins with a radio call from a guy I think named Chuck who is talking to Morgan and the others about how he's in a mall and he has basically everything they need, such as like supplies and like water, clothes. It's just everything that they would like possibly need. And he says he wants to help people and everything just like they did and everything because I guess he saw the tape that they were making. But he also reveals that he has been bitten. He asks them to bury him when they find him been pretty much dead, and he tells them that he has like a red jacket on. Then we cut to Morgan and Dwight and Grace killing a walker at the entrance of the mall and then entering. Then they walk towards the ledge of the floor that they are on and look over like, the railing to see tons of walkers but also tons of supplies also. Grace grabs some jelly beans and Dwight tells like Morgan or anything that he's gonna go downstairs and killing stray walkers downstairs while they, like Morgan and Grace, and then go to find Chuck. They go to the security room that he said he was gonna be in, but it's revealed that he got out and might have turned. They raid the room and Morgan and Grace talk. Morgan also asks Grace why she calls the jelly beans candy beanies, which is kind of like a funny gag that goes on throughout the episode or anything when Grace calls the jelly beans like candy beanies or whatever. From a distance they hear Dwight scream Morgan. Grace and Morgan run to Dwight and they basically see like look over the railing and see like a massive herd of walkers heading downstairs on the lower levels of like the mall. And Dwight basically says kind of a funny line. He's like, I found the strays. Morgan and Dwight are looking over until they hear someone fall behind them and Grace collapses to the ground and passes out. Morgan and Dwight rush over to her aid. She wakes up and they're inside a bed store. Morgan and Grace share some funny dialogue about jelly beans. Dwight's about to leave the mall to go to find Daniel, but before he can leave, Morgan comes out and Dwight brings up his point about how they should leave the mall and everything before Logan gets there because obviously they have no weapons. They kind of have a bit of a disagreement until Dwight leaves and everything. It's kind of like they kind of butt heads a little bit but not too like massive. We flash back inside the mall where Grace is listening to a book on her iPod and everything, and she's staring down at the walkers that are roaming until like Morgan basically comes up behind and startles her as she's drawn into her book, and she like kind of jumps and gets scared. Grace is sitting down against the railing until she tells Morgan that there's a possibility that she's sick from the radiation. She's not sure if it's cancer, but she needs to get to the urgent care downstairs inside the mall to get an x-ray to check. Time passes and Morgan gets a remote control car to get the walkers away from the stairs or wherever the bottom of the escalator so they can go and explore the rest of the mall. So basically get like the kind of like race car and everything, tons of like spoons attached to it and everything down to the bottom of the floor and everything, basically ride off to lure all the walkers away. They get to the bottom of the escalator and Morgan looks around for Ben until he turns around to see Grace left him, basically like, because he's looking around like in some stores. We go to Grace, who is following a group of walkers. She's trailing behind them until she steps on a paper bag and makes like a huge noise, I think, alerting the whole group that she's there. Morgan sees her and basically runs towards her, gets her away by like running. Morgan and Grace are running until they realize they're cut off from like the escalator and all the entrances or exits and everything, and they run into this protein shop and lock the doors. Morgan makes some protein shakes and they chat. Grace talks about how like she's not brave and everything because everyone's been calling her brave and everything for helping with the radiation or everything, and she brings up her trying to ride a horse as a kid and everything, how she was too scared to. And she brings up Morgan's son, but Morgan gets emotional and stops the conversation. After some time the walkers break in and Morgan break into the shop and everything, and Morgan and Grace have to escape through a back exit at the store, and they end up into a hallway where they search for the generator to anything give power to like the entire mall. They run into 4 walkers and Morgan tells Grace to turn off her lights so they can kill them easier. She hesitates but listens. He kills 3 but gets knocked over by 1 and everything, kind of hesitates, but Grace ends up killing the last one. They find the generator room and fill up on the tank and everything, get the generators on, and the mall power is now on. They run back into the mall and get to like the urgent care and everything, but it's blocked by a blockade, kind of like one of those like mall blockades or anything that defend from like robbers or whatever, and try to open it. They eventually get it, but an alarm goes off alerting the group of walkers from earlier that they're there, and all the walkers basically start to now like come at them. Morgan and Grace run towards the escalator and try to get up. Morgan trips and a walker grabs onto his leg, and like they follows him up the escalator. Morgan gets to the top and they kill the walker and everything, but more are like following them up the escalator and everything. He gets worried until Grace messes with some wires and basically makes the escalator go like backwards and anything. All the walkers now can't get up. They get back to the secure room and like try to find all the keys for like the stores and everything, especially the urgent care, until Morgan spots something on the security cameras and it's Chuck and he's alive on the roof, and the main person that they came to the mall for in the first place. They get up to the roof and find Chuck and he's happy and he's saying you came and everything, until Morgan pulls his jacket to the side revealing that Chuck was bitten and everything like he said in the radio call. Chuck says that he wants to see the stars for one last time, but he says it's a cloudy night and everything, until Grace gets an idea and gets like a stuffed turtle from one of the shops with a light and lights up some stars stars on the roof of like, one of the, like the places on top of the roof. They have an emotional scene where Chuck gets teary and he says it's perfect because he gets to see the stars, I think, one last time. The next morning comes around, they are burying Chuck and everything with the turtle next to him under the sky. They get back inside and everything to clear out every walker inside and gets the urgent care, but before they can open it, Grace basically says she doesn't want to know if she has cancer or like any type of radiation disease. And Morgan basically says, say what, and like, what'd you say or whatever, because they took all that time to clear out all the walkers, but he says also that's really brave that you want to live like that and everything, not knowing. Then Grace runs over to the merry-go-round and everything and basically says she wants to ride a horse, and because obviously as a kid she was too scared to, and she says she might not have another opportunity to. So she's basically riding it for a couple of seconds, I think, and until she says, hey Morgan, come and get on this, and Morgan basically says no and everything. She's like, you're really gonna make me ride this alone? He's like, yeah, I am. But eventually she convinces him to get on. We have basically a nice scene of them, riding together. The whole group arrives at the mall, like basically everyone and everything the next morning. And when Daniel gets to Morgan, he asks if they have a Cinnabon like inside the mall and everything, but Morgan says no, and they have a funny exchange. The group goes into the mall, loots everything. Dwight gets a haircut and everything, which is really cool, and shaved by Daniel, which is a really funny and cool scene. Back outside, Grace is filling up on gas until Morgan walks up to her and hesitates, but then he eventually says he can't go with her, and like can't go out with her, not like out like dating or anything. I can't go like like out like into the world with her. But they kind of have an emotional scene where like she's like really and everything. He's like yeah and everything. They kind of like start to tear up and then get really emotional. She's like, oh, okay, I'll see you later. So Morgan basically gets in his car, starts to drive off, and obviously is like very emotional and tearing and everything because he's obviously like sad and everything, because I really felt there's a connection between those two characters. So that's the end of that plot point. The second plot point is Dwight and one of Logan's like kind of like guys. So basically after he leaves the mall and everything, when like Dwight leaves the mall early and everything, he stops on the road to take a whiz, but gets a gun pointed out from behind him and everything, and he tells the guy that he won't get anything out of him, like any info or whatever, and knocks Dwight out. Dwight wakes up in his van. The guy comes back to Dwight and everything. The guy threatens Dwight, but Dwight points out in his points out and everything, and like points his face and everything, and all the burn marks and everything, and says there's nothing worse you can do to me that hasn't been done already. So the guy kind of leaves for a bit and everything, comes back with Dwight's pack and takes up a box or a bag of Sherry's notes and everything, and Dwight says don't touch them, but the guy takes a bunch of them, lights them on fire, and basically makes fun of Dwight and everything and says, oh honey, until the guy and Dwight tries to run at him, but the guy pulls out his gun on Dwight. The walker comes from behind the guy and everything. When he tries to shoot the walker, Dwight runs up behind him and everything and overtakes him, gets the gun and points at his head and saves the notes. Dwight leads the guy into the woods where he's about to kill, where it looks like he's about to kill him and everything, until the guy basically says like get it over with. But then like Dwight kind of remembers what like Daryl and everything said to him, like a Daryl reference. It basically says a guy gave me a second chance a long time ago, so I'm gonna give you a second chance to like improve your life, do something different with your life, and be a better person. So he basically lets the guy kind of off into the woods and everything, and just like walks in. The guy actually seems very thankful, and Dwight basically drives back to the mall and everything where everyone's reunited. So this episode was actually really good. I really liked it. A lot of people were kind of like very on the edge of like like Grace and Morgan leaving Grace. I think I honestly thought that was really weird too, because I thought they were developing a relationship, but at the same time I could see why Morgan left. I think because he didn't want to get into a relationship and then have her die, and he didn't want to lose someone again. But this episode was really good. I liked all the colors inside the mall when they got the lights on and everything. I liked the scene. I liked a lot of the ton of the funny scenes. There's a lot of funny scenes and everything. This episode was just fun and everything to like have them in like kind of a new setting or whatever. Also, I really liked the scene with Chuck. Like that was probably my favorite scene of the entire episode. Their scene with Chuck and everything, because like The Walking Dead has very few emotional scenes, like ones that are supposed to be really sad and everything that really actually get me. But this one really got me because it was such like a cool scene to see like Chuck and everything. All like it was just so emotional. Having Chuck get to see like the stars for like the last time and everything, and have like all of them kind of like looking at each other and everything, and Chuck kind of like going, "It's beautiful, it's perfect," and everything. And especially when they buried him, it was just such a perfect scene and such a perfect like moment. So this episode was really good in my opinion. It's actually an episode that I honestly feel has like rewatchability. Honestly, I would watch this episode again, and not many of the Fear Walking Dead episodes this season honestly have honestly got that on me. So I definitely watch this episode again. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video and review and everything and breakdown. Make sure to leave your opinions down below of the episode, and make sure to like, comment, subscribe for more Walking Dead stuff. And yep, I'll see you guys later. Peace, my amigos, and peace out.